And we are live. Welcome. This is Taylor Talks Comics Live. Thank you for joining me. Please drop your comments in the chat as we go on throughout the show today. I am Taylor. This is Taylor Talks Comics. Thank you for joining me. Please give the video a thumbs up. Comment down below. Even if you're watching this on the replay, comment down below. I reply to all comments now or in the future. It holds though real quickly. So I got Witchcraft. This is a book coming out from Fantagraphics by Otero. This will be in October, and it's gonna be a spooky read. Otero also did a book called Mothballs, which I did a video on. If one of the moderators wants to link that for me. So I was super stoked about this. Mothballs was actually, fun fact, the first book I reviewed, got a review copy of for Fantagraphics. So a little bit of a nice bit of trivia there, I guess. But Otero's a great artist. I love Mothballs, and I'm excited to read this because it is about witchcraft. So it's a little bit of a spookier read. And her artwork is really, really splendid. Speaking of coloring, her coloring is tremendous. So this will be out in October. I got this in the mail yesterday. Shout out to Ian Chalgren. This is one of the most amazing things I've received in the mail. This is the Ocular edition, the Uncanny covers. I don't know if I'm going to do a video on this book or not. I might. But what I talked about earlier, so Ian Chalgren, if you weren't here last week, is the designer on the X-Men Elsewind books. And he got his start in comic book design by making these bootleg books. And this is like a substantial hardcover, thick book showing off original art of covers from Marvel, and he called it the Ocular edition. But he fully designed this book, and this became his business card for what he took these books around. Oh, that's sorry, he wrote me a little note, which was very much appreciated. In papers, beautiful in papers. But he took these around to conventions to different publishers saying, like, this is what I'm capable of. Would you like me to design some books for you? And now he's getting a lot of great design work with a lot of great companies, a lot of great publishers. Abrams, he's doing the X-Men Elsewind stuff. He's doing stuff for Dark Horse Comics. And these are one of 50. There's only like 50 of these made that he shopped around, and he said there was collecting dust, and he sent it to me as a thank you for the work that I do, and I appreciate that so much. This is going to be a treasure in my collection now, having a 1 of 50 book. So thank you so much, Ian. I'm going to pour through that thing, because he also did a lot of editorial stuff, writing in there and things, which is amazing. But I'm pretty sure Cartoonist Kayfabe did a video of this exact book, because he sent it to them to show off his ability to do some comic book design. So I think this book actually appeared on their channel. Not this copy, the copy that he sent them. But so I need to watch that video again. I've already watched it before. Now with the book in my hand and kind of go through it while I watch the video. Here's the Mothballs book, or Mothballs review by Otero. Check that out. Wow, Ian's work is amazing. So cool to have one of his customs. I'm not jealous at all. I know. Trust me, this is going to be one of my grails of my collection. I'm going to cherish this thing because it's one of a kind, or not one of a kind, one of a 50 kind, I guess. But still, I mean, it might be one of my rarest books in my collection, for sure. I knew almost nothing about Fantagraphics until I started watching your channel. So thanks for opening up that world. I appreciate that so much. So much. I appreciate that. Who designed that book? I left the room for a minute. The Otero book. It very much carries the same exact. I think I haven't measured it with Mothballs, but it seems like the same trim size as Mothballs. And definitely, if you have Mothballs, it's like that thicker. It's a paperback. Excuse me. It's a paperback, but it's like a thicker stock than your typical paperback. It's got like a textured cover. So I'm assuming it was the same designer that designed that one. But Kayla E. The amazing Kayla E. Who the cartoonist that did Precious Rubbish, one of my favorite reads of the year, was the designer of Witchcraft. That's how Kayla E got her start in comics, was doing a lot of book design for Fantagraphics. And she's a tremendous book designer. But Precious Rubbish is a must read, for sure. I have a video on my channel showing off Precious Rubbish. Again, one of my favorite reads of 2025. And then this is an amazing haul. I got 5 issues of Taboo magazine that I've never owned these before. There were 10 issues released of these back in the day. This was Steve Bissette's anthology, Steve Bissette of like Swamp Thing fame. And I got issues 4 through 9. So I still need issues 1 through 3 and then the Especial issue. But these are amazing collections. And these anthologies, and I love it. They have like all different paper stocks too. I'm always a sucker for that when books have different paper stocks. There's so much great stuff in here. This is where From Hell was originally serialized, where Lost Girls from Alan Moore was originally serialized. There's a lot of good Spain Rodriguez and S. Clay Wilson in here. And Moebius did this first cover. Like, what a great looking Moebius cover. You don't see him do horror too often. And they have like front and back covers, and they're like thick. These are thick anthologies. Like, just take a look at the spines. So I need to get the full collection because people have asked over the years if Steve Bissette would reissue these or reprint them in some sort of collection. And because Steve Bissette's so awesome, there's even some Charles Burns in here. Like, look at that stuff. All the stuff was owned by the creator, so he doesn't really have the legal rights to reprint this thing. So if he wanted to reprint these, he'd have to go to each and every creator and get their permission for it. But even some stuff that I've never even heard of, like Jarhead by Jeff Nicholson. Yeah, Jeff Nicholson. Like, I've never heard of this cartoonist, which is one thing I always love about comic book anthologies is like you come for like the big names like the Charles Burns, the Alan Moore, the Eddie Campbell, but then you like leave fans of Jeff Nicholson. And who's this? Who did this one? This looks pretty awesome. Short story by Marnick and Elfison. I don't know this person either. But like, that's some really great artwork. And he's like fully like, these are just like inspiring, like it's like trade paperbacks too. Like, there's great book design, like great end papers on them, great table of contents. They feel like the best looking zine you've ever seen with some editorial things written in here by Steve Bissette. So I'm excited to pour through these. These will definitely be featured on my Spooktober 31 days of horror comics in October. I'll be showing these off. I don't know if I'm going to do like, I haven't decided yet. I'm trying to still track down the other 4 volumes I'm missing. I haven't decided if I'm going to do like a volume by volume video or just one video showing off all of them. I don't know. But yeah, definitely excited to pour through those. Awesome. I've been pouring through Taboo lately, compiling Charles Burns material. Jordan, yes. The Charles Burns stuff in here, which I haven't looked, like I just got these, so I haven't looked through to see if that Charles Burns stuff has appeared anywhere else or if it's like, this is the only place this has appeared. But I'm excited. Anytime I find Charles Burns artwork, it's exciting. Then we got Dana saying, I was supposed to have a story in Taboo, an adaptation of a Charles Beaumont story illustrated by Bill Ray. Oh, man. But we hit a snag. That would have been amazing. Dang. Yeah, Taboo has, like, there's a rich history of, like, the cartoonists and writers involved in here. But also the publishing history is interesting because it started off with just Spider Baby Graphics, which was Steve Bissette's publishing company. And then it went to Kitchen Sink. And then it went to Tundra/Kitchen Sink because Tundra bought Kitchen Sink. It was a whole thing. But and then like the publishing history of just having like the volumes kind of be sporadic in their releases. And but yeah, the most famous thing coming out of it is definitely From Hell. Like, and Alan Moore is on record saying that From Hell couldn't have been serialized any other place besides like Taboo because one, the subject matter. Steve Bissette purposely has the name Taboo, wanted to have this kind of boundary pushing content that wouldn't be censored. So just like even just the content of From Hell needed a place in a home like Taboo, but also the serialization because each chapter of From Hell isn't the same amount of page count. It's not like every chapter is 8 pages or 24 pages. Like there's some chapters that are like 20 pages and some that are 100 pages, I think. So he needed a place to, or they needed a place. Sorry, Alan Moore and Eddie Campbell needed a place to serialize it that would be friendly to that kind of serialization. So one thing I like to do on my show too is show off some things I hold lately. So over the last week, my wife and I and son went to some Barnes & Noble and Half Price Books. But I got volume 9 of 20th Century Boys by Naoki or Urasawa. I always say that name wrong. And I needed this because I only had the first 8 volumes, and I've only read the first 8 volumes. And I've read the volumes 1 through 3 like a few times, because I think this is a series you have to read all the way through to really enjoy it. So every time I reread it or go to reread it, I have to start over. But one of my goals this year is I don't know if I'll meet this, but I'm going to do my 31 days of horror comics in October. My goal is to have all those videos done and recorded before October 1st, to have them ready to go. And then all of October, I want to spend my time reading 20th Century Boys. So I need to pick up volume 10 and then volume 10, 11, and then 21st Century Boys. I think is that correct? Someone correct me if I'm wrong. So I think there's 3 volumes I still need to pick up. I think 10, 11, and 21st Century Boys. Or is it just 10 and 21st Century Boys is the 11th volume? I don't know, but I'll pick them up and try to read the whole series all the way through. Amazing, amazing series. Truly some of the best comics I've ever read. I don't know how it ends. I don't know if he sticks to the landing or not. I'll find out this October, hopefully. But yeah, so I picked up volume 9. Is at Barnes & Noble, and I needed it. Also picked up these from Half Price Books. This was an awesome duo of comics. But Omega the Unknown, both the modern series and the classic series. Omega the Unknown is one of my favorite weird superheroes, if you've never read him. Classic Steve Gerber. Steve Gerber is one of my favorite writers ever. Like he only wrote like really weird stuff, and I absolutely loved and adored every minute of it. And Omega the Unknown was not any different than that. And he co-wrote most of it with Mary Screens, who was his partner at the time. But classic Bronze Age Marvel stuff. Omega the Unknown is truly a weird superhero, and he only lasted 10 issues, and then they got canceled, but then they wrapped up his story in a couple issues of Defenders, 76 and 77. And those were written by someone else. I think Roger Stern wrote one of them and someone else. But fun, weird comics, though. And I found this trade paperback at Half Price Books. But then also, I'm assuming the same person probably sold this to him as well. I've read this as well. There's a glare on it. Omega the Unknown. This is a modern series by Jonathan Lethem, but illustrated by Farel Dalrymple, colored by Paul Hornschemeier. So really interesting that this is a standard size hardcover, a weird kind of edition. It's got like this fabric cover to it. It's like one of the weird like art projects that Marvel actually allows different things to be done with the collected edition. Even like the end papers are different. And I used to have the single issues of this, and I got it based on the fact that I loved Omega the Unknown and I love Farel Dalrymple. And I wanted to see how it compared to the classic series. So I think I'll probably do a video on my channel comparing the two series, and talk about how they're similar and different. But awesome that Farel Dalrymple, this like indie cartoonist, came to Marvel and did this weird character. Like if I ever was able to pitch a series to Marvel, I always talk about, I have a Rick Jones series that I've got in my head that I want to pitch to Marvel one day. But if I ever got to pitch like a series or something, a long ongoing series, it would include Omega the Unknown, bringing him back. I got the first issue of Taboo. So I talked about this on my channel last week, how I'm trying to collect all the issues of Taboo. I got the first volume. It's got a Charles Burns story in here, which is cool. Which I don't know if it's ever been released elsewhere, this Charles Burns story. And then it's got stuff in here by Eddie Campbell. Charles Vess has a series in here. Here's Charles Vess artwork. And S. Clay Wilson. S. Clay Wilson has a series in here. Famous underground cartoonist from Zap Comics. And I love this because like there's an editorial by Steve Bissette, who was the editor on this magazine, and it's printed through his publisher Spider Baby Graphics, until it eventually went to Kitchen Sink / Tundra. And he writes the intro of what Taboo means to him and how he loves that comics can push the envelope on things. And then before each series, before each strip in the anthology, because it's an anthology title, he writes a little editorial about the cartoonist and writers and things and how he enjoys them. Alan Moore writes a story in here. I think I don't know. Let's get stuff. I'm going to do an overview of Taboo. on my channel in October. So as far as Taboo goes, I'm still missing issue 2, 3, and then the Especial issue, which is like their special issue. Hey, 20th Century Boys. Yes, it's complex, but Neil's the lane. Oh, that's good to hear. It's amazing. Like, and the thing that, like, you always hear people say like certain artists have like same face syndrome, and Urasawa absolutely does not. And when you're working in black and white, like most manga is, you can't have same face syndrome because your characters are going to blend together. And the amazing and brilliant thing about his artwork in this is that he works with these characters through all different ages. Like, you'll see them as children, as the early 20s, as grown adults, and you never mix up who's who. Like, the character that when you see them as an adult, because you've only ever seen them as a kid, you know exactly who it is. It's a brilliant artwork, but the story is too. It's super complex. I almost feel like it's like Urasawa grew up loving Akira and then like built upon that and with layers. And that's kind of what 20th Century Boys reminds me of, because it's like you get a lot of cult stuff in there, a lot of gangs, a lot of like mystical, like like overlords, or not overlords. I'm trying to think of a word. Just like leaders in the world and things, and people that worship them and people don't work. Like, it's very fascinating. 10, 11, then 21st Century Boys. So I need 3 more volumes. 10, 11, 21st Century Boys. And I think those are in print still, these perfect editions, which are great. They have like a connecting spine image on it when you put them together. I've got the Masterworks of Omega. It's great. Yeah, I thought I almost wanted to pick that up because that is a great Masterworks to own because it's one and done. I don't know that it collects anything different from this. Let me know, Badgerstone. This collects Omega the Unknown 1 and 10, and then Defenders 76 and 77. I don't think there was any other appearances by him. What's the Charles Burns story called? Where did I put that? Oh, it's right here. Contagious is what it's called. Great title lettering in this too. I want to show that off. Charles Burns is always has great title lettering because he letters his own work. But look at that. I don't know if you can see the detail in that title lettering, but brilliant title lettering. Jordan, oh cool, that's the Black Hole precursor. Yes, that's what it is. Contagious. It's the not the prequel of Black Hole, but like the pilot episode, perhaps. Correction. It's really cool. Proto Black Hole, and it's the Teen Plague parallel. Black Hole is my favorite horror comic of all time, so it was fun to read that. That's my first time reading that 4-page strip. The Masterworks has the same 1 through 2. Yes, that's the same content. Okay. Speaking of Matt Kindt, I'm enjoying his collaboration with David Lapham. The Hero Trade. It's a seamless collab. Very much in the Lapham vein. Highly recommended. Yes, I talked about that on my channel a couple weeks ago. I don't know if I have my copy here to show off, but oh yeah, actually it's right here. But David Lapham is great. Stray Bullets is one of the best crime comics of all time. And the Hero Trade, $12.99 for this thick trade, written by Matt Kindt, drawn by David Lapham on beautiful newsprint paper and all in black and white artwork, which is where David Lapham, his art really sings. He's one of the few modern artists where I'm like, yeah, I prefer him in black and white. Besides like mangaka and things, but yeah, just like amazing stuff. I read most of the stuff when it was coming out in like the backup strips of Bad Idea and whatever. But some of this I haven't read yet. So I am excited to sit down and read the whole thing. So if you want to shop for comics at Panel Bound Comics, use my promo code Taylor Talks Comics, all one word, Taylor Talks Comics, and you'll save $2 off of your order. But if you plan on putting a bigger order in with PBC, Panel Bound Comics, use my promo code TTC, ship it together, all one word, TTC, ship it together, and they'll save 5% off your order if you order 4 or more books. Soon. Well, speaking of which, why don't I go over some things that I've hauled? I got Xanadax right here in my hands. It's a thick trade. It's thicker than I expected. It's from Image Comics. Showing it off here on the channel. This is Tom Scioli's latest. Tom Scioli's one of my favorite cartoonists in comics. I'll buy anything he does because he makes the most fun comics ever. Everything he does is fun. And his art style is just totally evolving. Yeah, I know I'm gonna love this already. Like, look at this cover right here. So this was a graphic novel. This has only been released as such. It was not released as single issues, and I can already tell just flipping through it, he uses that to its fullest. This was not made to be written or read as a single issue comic book. Has some cool back matter, and it says volume 1 on it, so I'm assuming there'll be more of these. It's rated E for everyone. Action, adventure, science fiction. So we talked about this on my channel last week. It comes out today, so make sure you pick that up by Tom Scioli. Also picked up this because I've been late on this one. Godzilla Monsterpiece Theater. They did a cool slipcase hardcover edition at IDW, which I did not buy because it's like $150 and it's like limited and signed. I would wish they just do an oversized hardcover and release that to the mass market. Maybe they will still. I have a feeling that, or I have an opinion that all kaiju comics should be done in giant oversized editions, but I digress. This is Tom Scioli doing Godzilla. It's the one that I forget who just commented. I'm sorry. Was it Andreas? Yeah, I don't know. Someone just commented. I'll get to it in a second. That they just read Godzilla last Sunday. I've not read this yet. This was released in single issues, and it's Godzilla mashing up with these classic novels in fiction. Like there's The Great Gatsby, The Time Machine, Sherlock Holmes, all in this mashup. And this is put out by IDW. So I got 2 Tom Scioli books to read this afternoon. It's going to be a great day. We're going to have a lot of fun with those. And then this past weekend, my family and I went thrifting. We went to a new thrift store that I've never been to before. And they had a bunch of comics there, which I was super stoked for. And I found this for less than $20. Airtight Garage, Moebius. Get out of here. I've been reading this. It's amazing. I've never read this before. They released 6 of these Moebius editions from Epic Comics, which is the imprint of Marvel. And I've always wanted The Long Tomorrow, which is Moebius 5. Or sorry, Moebius 4. This is Moebius 3. Airtight Garage. And this is the whole thing in this one book. It does have some yellowing around the pages, so you can tell it's been sun damaged, but I'm just excited to have more Moebius in my life. I picked up this too. This was on sale. This is Ghost Agents. This is by Rocko Jerome. This actually started via the Cartoonist Kayfabe Ringside Seats. They're a Facebook group where Rocko Jerome got with a bunch of different up-and-coming cartoonists to do some Ghost Agent stories for him. A great project here. And this is like magazine format. Like this is your standard size comic, so it's a little bit taller than and wider than. But this has all Landgraf art in this comic. And it's done on this, like, I think Meesimo is the credited colorist. But it's all Landgraf artwork done with this awesome coloring. You can find this through Cosmic Lion Productions. I'm going to show this off on a video. But this Landgraf artwork is always fun to me. I'm a big fan of his. And it has kind of that black light. The coloring reminds me of Alexis Zira, if you're a fan of him as a cartoonist. And I got some issues of Master Kung Fu, because I'm still trying to hunt down every issue of that series. Andreas is the one that said he read Godzilla last week. I want to pick up Witchman, though. I still need to pick that up. Nice. My shop hasn't got my Xanadax yet. So excited. It comes out this week. Are they just delayed in the shipping, maybe? Wow, nice find. Wow, Airtight Garage rules. What I know. And then I went on eBay to see what volumes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 of the Moebius series was. Because this is all in one, this series. This says Moebius 3, but all of the Airtight Garage is in this one edition. The Moebius 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 that they're doing, we're collecting different stories from Moebius. So they're not like, it's not like an ongoing series, perhaps. Or, for example, they're just all collecting different series of Moebius. So yeah, I was excited to get this. But Moebius, all of these volumes are really hard to find on eBay. Like, they're really expensive. So finding them for that price was insane. Godzilla Limited, $175. Yeah, they also did a giant-sized Stoko, James Stokoe's Half Century War in the same edition, also overpriced. again, I've wanted that book in oversized. They've done like a deluxe edition, which is slightly oversized, but I want that Stoko Half Century War in like the biggest size possible. All of Stoko's comics should be in giant oversized. Those epic Moebius are great. If I remember correctly, he colored those. Yeah. So this was Airtight Garage was originally serialized in Metal Hurlant or Heavy Metal. I forget which one, maybe both, in like 2 pages at a time in black and white. And then it was all collected in here through Epic, and Moebius colored. He had like a studio helping him color, but he guided the coloring and made all the decisions on coloring. So it looks amazing. All the color treatment throughout. The coloring alone makes this worth reading, but the story and the art, obviously, is great too. Moebius Airtight Garage, nice find. I'm Hunting Master Kung Fu 2, Gene Day issues first. This has been like a long ongoing project for like the last 5 or 6 years. And I think I have like 80% of all of them, including all the appearances of Shang-Chi and other comics and things. And it started off by me getting a bunch of lots on eBay and things, but now anytime I go to a comic book shop, I look to see if they have any issues I need. But yeah, the Paul Galassi stuff is what originally drew me to it, because I wanted to get all the Paul Galassi issues. But yeah, then Gene Day, Mike Zeck, like there's some really cool artists throughout the whole run. And I wanted it on that newsprint paper, like yellow newsprint paper with the original coloring. I didn't want the stupid Marvel recolored Omnibus editions, which there's nothing wrong with those. Read them. They're great comics. And I plan on custom binding them one day. Cheers. The Moebius book looks great. I've been pouring through Moebius' original art pages lately. He really is unbelievable. I know. Absolute master. And we don't have enough of his work. One day, I hope that his different estates can get together and we can get reprints of Blueberry. We need reprints of like Airtight Garage. We need Long Tomorrow reprinted. So much of his work has not been reprinted. The only things I own of Moebius, I think I own the Silver Surfer story in an omnibus. I wish I had it, the original, or not the original, but the gallery edition that came with like the dust jacket was a poster. I waited too long to pick that up. So I have Silver Surfer in omnibus. I have that. I have the Incal Deluxe edition. And then I have all of the Moebius library editions from Dark Horse. But yeah, there's still so much of his stuff that's not been. It is weird. Family and estates are like, no, we don't want people. I know, it's so weird. And I think it's because he has 2 different wives that both have like part ownership of it, and they don't want to, but they would make money off. I don't know. It's so mind boggling. I wish somebody that like some publisher would sit down with them and say like, do you like money? Do you think your husband, John Giroux, would possibly want other comic book readers to see his awesome work that he spent his whole life doing? But I don't know. This one is... It was just packaged in this bag, so I'm curious what it'll look like. Oh, it came out okay. This is 20th Century Boys, the Viz Big Edition, Volume 10. So, like, if you've been a longtime viewer of the channel, you know that I've said in October I'll be doing my 31 days of horror comics. So every day of October I'll be releasing a video talking about a different horror comic or horror comic related topic. And I'm prepping all those videos ahead of time. So then in October, while you guys are watching those videos, my goal is to read through all of 20th Century Boys, because I've not finished it before. I've only read all the way through volume 8 or 9. No, 8. I read through volume 8 before. So this will be my first time reading through the finale of it. I still need to pick up volume 11 and then 21st Century Boys. So I'll be doing that. And then these are from a friend of a friend. I don't know if I'm supposed to mention who these came from. The person might be in the chat who sent these, but I'll show them off anyways. But this is Slaine. I think it's pronounced Slania or something different. I always get told I'm pronouncing it wrong. But this is not the Simon Bisley era. This is the era of Meesimo, Bellardinelli, Angie Kincaid, and Mike McMahon. So I'm really excited to read this. I never read anything that wasn't Bisley. And I haven't even read that much Bisley's Slaine, to be honest. But it's a Conan-like series from 2000 AD. I guess we got to be careful showing off the artwork there. So I'm excited to read that. But the most exciting thing that I got was this. I didn't realize this book was so big. So I failed to pick these up since they started coming out. This is Nemesis Warlock Volume 1. So I'm super stoked that the person sent this to me. They're huge, though. Like, let me see if I can find a normal-sized comic. Look at this. I have Favorite of the Show. Angel Love. Look how big that thing is. I thought these were just like normal trade paperback size. But I guess it fits the trim size of the original 2000 AD progs that came out. And there's a lot of process stuff in here from Kevin O'Neill. So the reason why I want to read this is because I love Kevin O'Neill. He's one of my favorite artists. And I've only read some of these in the artist edition that they released, or the Apex edition that 2001 AD released. I have a video on my channel showing off the Kevin O'Neill Apex edition. If one of the mods want to show a link off for that. But Kevin O'Neill's artwork is just absolutely amazing. And look at that, Alan Moore with the blurb. Nobody draws like Kevin O'Neill. Absolutely true. So I think they've released 3 so far, and then the 4th one comes out in November. So I need to catch up on volumes 2 and 3 before 4 comes out. But I'm super excited to read this. I just love Kevin O'Neill's artwork. And this is earlier Kevin O'Neill before he really got into the Kevin O'Neill style. It looks like that comes in a little bit later this volume. But Kevin O'Neill, he drew League of Extraordinary Gentlemen. He drew Martial Law. He had a bunch of backup strips in the Green Lantern back in the day. Those are the original ones. There are 3 of those. The Bisley is a retelling. Okay, so this is the original Slaine stories. That Slaine is the same as Definitive Volume. Okay, so they've recently released definitive editions of Slaine similar to this treatment, which they do this with a lot of their series, which is really cool. Because 2000 AD puts out a ton of comics, a ton of different series, more than just Judge Dredd. And I like that they've been doing these definitive editions. I'm terribly behind on collecting any of them, even though I'd love to have all of them. So yeah, they've done Slaine in the same format. And this, Josh is saying that this replicates the contents of the first one. So that's good to know. There are 5 in total of Nemesis. But 4 hasn't come out yet, right? Like 4 and 5 still haven't come out. Thank you, Super Laughheart, for sending those. Passing to Taylor. Okay, I didn't know if I was supposed to mention it. But yes, these came from Super Laughheart originally. He sent them to Josh. Josh upgraded his editions. I'm assuming he got the definitive edition of Slaine. In the hardcover of these, he showed off in my Discord. But I don't mind these paperbacks. I think it's the same trim size even. Those hardcovers look beautiful, I will say. But I don't need to track those down because I know they go out of print pretty fast. And these paperbacks look beautiful in their own right. I can't wait. It's going to be hard for me to not dive into Nemesis Warlock, though, because I'm trying to read all my horror comics to prep those videos for October. So, like, all of September for me is being spent reading horror comics so that I can get them ready for October. I don't know if I can. I'm going to have to put that away, though, because I've been wanting to read Nemesis for a very long time. Let's show off my haul, because there's quite a bit here. And I want to get you guys' thoughts on this. Up first, I have Dr. Worthless by Harold Schechter and Eric Powell. So this is the same team that did Do You Know What Eddie Gein Done, which I do have a review on my channel for that book, moderators. But this is their follow-up, and this is about Dr. Wortham, a subject that I'm very much fascinated by. Dr. Wortham, who they refer to as Dr. Worthless, is a guy that almost killed the comic book industry because he went on this tirade and with a very crooked and weak case about how comic books were creating juvenile delinquents. And it was such a crooked method of psychology and things. He would go into the inner city with the most troubled youth and interview them and find out the children that committed crimes were also reading comic books. But here's the thing. All kids were reading comics back then. So to correlate, it's like no causation without correlation, or whatever that phrase is. There was no correlation actually to the comics creating crime-riddled children, because also the kids that were not committing crimes were reading comics as well. But it created this huge hysteria where parents were burning kids' comic books. Parents were banning kids from reading comic books. And then the Comics Code Authority was then created from that. And which then the whole, like, dozens of publishers went under. Dozens of publishers had to just cease existing. And then all the comic book publishers that did exist from then on made comics only for kids, and then because they had to be sanitized and follow the Comics Code Authority. And I've had viewers try to defend the Comics Code Authority in my comments a lot whenever I talk about this, and it blows my mind because they say like it's a good thing to regulate, and like, yes, rating systems are good. As a parent, I value rating systems for any content that I show my kid. Obviously, I still think at the end of the day, it's up to the parent to make the decision on what their kids watch or read or whatever. But the rating system is a good guide to go off of. But here's the thing, is that the Comics Code Authority wasn't a rating system. The Comics Code Authority was the same equivalent as if movie theaters said, we will not show any movies beyond the rating of G. It's G-rated or nothing. So like PG, PG-13, R-rated, all gone. And the only way that those movies can be shown is like in underground theaters, just like how the underground comics scene started with like Robert Crumb and Zapp and Spain Rodriguez and all those guys. So you'd have like underground movie theaters, but the mass majority of movie theaters only show G-rated movies. That's the equivalent. So it's not a rating system. It's literally like, imagine the film industry if it can only make G-rated movies and make profit off G-rated movies. Like it was not good. I also got Flash, the Flash Omnibus by Mark Waid, Volume 2. So I am trying to collect all the Flash omnibuses because he is my favorite DC character. And I just love following him throughout DC's history because I think he is like the best character to read all the way through DC's history because he touches so many huge points of like massive events throughout DC. And this is a second volume. There should be a third volume that will conclude Mark Waid's run. And we're getting close to having all of Flash in omnibus format, omnibus or oversized hardcover format from like Crisis on Infinite Earths all the way to present day, which is really cool. Complete Web of Horror. I don't think Dana's in the chat today, but I'm so happy to finally have this. Dana Marie Andro, the editor of this book, who put this together and made this thing a true physical thing that we can hold and read, is frequently in our chat, but she's not here today. It was published by Fantagraphics, but I believe that Dana ran a Kickstarter or Indiegogo to make this a possibility. And Web of Horror was a magazine, a black and white horror magazine that lasted for 3 issues. Look at these in papers, by the way. I know Dana said that she values good in papers, and you could see just by the in papers in this book. This was designed by Justin Allen Spencer, but I'm sure Dana had a hand in that as well. But beautifully designed book. But yeah, this lasted for 3 issues during the same time as the Creepy and Eerie magazines from back in the day. So if you're into Creepy Eerie magazine or Vampirella, this is right up your alley because this is exactly the same vein of comics. And I love this. This is one of my favorite things ever whenever you get a collection of comics. And Fantagraphics does this often. But sorry. Poor manners, my phone's ringing. These are true facsimile edition books. They're as if you had the 3 issues of Web of Horror and you bound them in this book because the cover is glossy and in full color. And then the book itself is all here with all the ephemera and inside covers and everything, table of contents. And then it doesn't just collect the 3 issues that existed because it was canceled after that. It includes issue number 4, which I need to read why that never came out or if it ever was published. I haven't read the introductions and things yet. Literally just opened this book before I went on air. And then it includes a lot of lost pages in the back. So I guess through Heritage Auctions in 2014, I think, I read this real quickly, they found a bunch of original art pages from what would have been issues 4, 5, 6, and 7, or 4, 5, and 6. I can't remember. and they included them into this book, so that's really cool as well. But why I said that it was skirting the Comics Code Authority is that's one of the comics that was on the magazine rack. So being on the magazine rack, they're able to avoid all of the Comics Code Authority nonsense. Dana's going to be happy. I know, which shows you that Dana is a true viewer of my show, because I haven't bought that book for a year, and she still joins into the show and watches my content regardless. Just kidding. But I think this is a second. Yeah, this is a second printing from May 2025. So this already hit a second printing, which is awesome. And a good achievement on Dana's part. The other two other books I got were the Richard Corbin Ralph and Dimwood, which now means I have every volume of the Richard Corbin library in my library. And I haven't opened these up yet, so I don't know how much of this is safe for work and how much is not. But I think Ralph is... I'm trying to think. Yeah, this is a werewolf story. And Dimwood is like his last work. Let me check to see if this is okay. This one is in black and white. All been lovingly restored by Jose Villarrubia, who's been like the main proponent of this project. Oh, sorry. That showed some stuff on it. Don't tell YouTube. Here's some more werewolf. There's a werewolf transition right there. Always love a good monster transition panel. Richard Corbin's Ralph, this has an introduction by Hayao. Almost knocked my coffee over. Hayao Miyazaki of like Studio Ghibli fame, which is wild that Hayao Miyazaki was a Richard Corbin fan. Oh, there's some cool pinups in here too. Check that out. Which is cool. They've been doing like these really fun introductions from different people. And yeah, so excited to read that introduction in that book. But this is Dimwood. This is his final work, I think. Yeah, his final graphic novel. So I've never read either of these. I've now read all of the ones that have come out so far in a lot of other Richard Corbin work, but not these two in particular. Well, these end papers are cool. And this one is in full color. I think the coloring, Beth Corbin Reed did the coloring, but then Jose Villarrubia did all the restoration on the coloring. So see, this has like more modern era Richard Corbin coloring, and the artwork is more of the digital era of Richard Corbin's work, which I do love his practical color work better. Here's a cool monster image. Sorry, Alfred E. Newman's in the way there. But his digital stuff is still really, really fascinating. But yeah, just a true iconoclast artist that I absolutely love. And I'm so glad that they're releasing those. I think they have 2 more volumes announced so far of those. Any Richard Corbin fans in the house? Here's a Hey Kids Comics playlist. If you want to check that out. Going to do a big video about Corbin? I am. So I think my plan is late September. I'm going to have a video showing off all the Richard Corbin library volumes that have come out so far. And then in October for my 31 Days of Horror Comics, which, yes, everyone check this out. Every day in October, I'm going to do a different video every single day on a different horror comic or horror comic related topic. And I'm going to show off, I think I'm going to do Dimwood for one day and Ralph for one day. So I'll do separate videos on those, like deep dives into those videos separately in October. But yes, my plan is late September, I'm going to do showing off all the Richard Corbin books, which I think it might be easier to skirt around the NFSW kind of stuff within those books by showing off a bunch of them at once. And I might have to flag some pages and things to show them off to make it appropriate for YouTube. Wow. Okay, I'm going to show the rest of my haul and then get out of here. We didn't even get to the news, but that's fine. I'll do that next week. I got some Jacques Tardy books. Any Jacques Tardy fans in the house? So this is Farewell Brindavoine by Jacques Tardy. You see it's got a nice foil cover to it. So I love Jacques Tardy. He's one of my favorite cartoonists. And Fantagraphics has done an incredible job reprinting all his work. But I'm very much behind on picking that up. I love the color treatment in this one as well. This is his first, or his earliest work, I think. His first solo graphic novel. I don't know what year that puts it in, but his cartooning is amazing. I started with Tardy on his war comics and then became a fan through his crime comics, and now I'm realizing he's gone through other genres as well. You are there. This is another Tardy book. This is the thickest Tardy book I have. Or maybe it's just thick paper. It's over 150 pages. This one's in black and white. If you're looking to get into Jacques Tardy, I would recommend the gateway is War is Hell, or I think is it War is Hell, or Goddamn This War is another one. No, sorry. It was War in the Trenches is one, and then GD This War, which I just said. Sorry, YouTube. Is the other one. They released those in a box set. You can also buy them separately, and those are amazing if you're into war comics. Like a sniper lining up a shot, or however that one's read. That's another good one to read. This is at least in the new Partisans. This one is, I think, the most recent one that came out, and I haven't picked it up yet. But this is about, I think, is it his wife? 10 years earlier, Elise came to Paris. I know it's about standing up and protesting against the treatment of Algerian immigrants. Okay. Inspired by true story songwriter Dominic Grange. I don't know. It's about Dominic Grange. I thought she had some sort of relation with Tardy, though. This one's in mostly black and white with some gray washes, possibly. So I'm excited to read that one. And the last Tardy book I got was The True Story of the Unknown Soldier. And this one, honestly, kind of gave me vibes of Vonnegut. And I don't know if that's a true... I've not read it yet. I don't know if that's a true assessment at all. But because it's a war comic, or an anti-war comic, I think. But it mixes in all kinds of other genres. Oh, can't show the page. Mixes in all other genres too, like science fiction and things, which I was not expecting. Okay, there's a lot I can't show in here. But yeah, Jacques Tardy is a master. So I definitely will have a video on my channel after I've read those, showing off all the Tardy books I have so far, which I think I have close to 10. I think Fantagraphics has reprinted 17 or something like that. I have a bunch of Tardy books. Great stuff. I only have The Streets of Paris, books by Tardy. Of Paris, sorry, yeah, try and correct yourself. Yeah, he's an amazing cartoonist, and I was shocked that he worked in so many different styles. And Fantagraphics has been doing a great job of reprinting all his work, but I'm still behind on picking them all up. So it's one of the cartoonists I want to own everything from that has been reprinted in English. He's definitely up there. Richard Corbin's another one. But yes, you can follow me, Taylor Talks Comics, on YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, Blue Sky, all of those avenues you can find me on if you just search Taylor Talks Comics. I'm also on Letterboxd. If you're a fan of film and like to see my reviews, I do write reviews of the movies I watch on there as I watch them, which is fun. And I'm on Goodreads if you want to find that as well. All those links are down below in the description. And I have been doing a lot of TikTok content, which I then also been putting on YouTube Shorts and Instagram Reels. So if you're into that kind of shorter form content, check those out and support me there. You can also shop at Panelbound Comics, which is a great website to buy your comics and graphic novels. Use my promo code Taylor Talks Comics, all one word, Taylor Talks Comics, and you can save $2 off your order. If you're putting a larger order in of 4 books or more, bigger savings, use TTC, ship it together. That's all one word. TTC, ship it together, and you'll save 5% off your order. Bigger order, bigger savings. And then before you leave, Please smash the like button, subscribe if you haven't already, and comment down below. Super chats are always welcome. So yes, thank you everyone. Have a great day. Like, comment, subscribe, all those jazz, and keep talking comics.